X marks the spot. It's like this sore, throbbing, like, spot right in the middle of that where it all attaches. This tendon is not happy, okay? And we're back with part number 2 of the injury series thing. Like I said in the last episode, this ended up turning out to be a little longer than I wanted, so we're breaking it into 3 parts. So, part number 2, we have the elbow issues with low bar squatting, okay? Now, I started low bar squatting probably a year and a half ago, and it was beautiful. It was much more comfortable. My ass cheeks actually got a pump instead of just like my hammies and a little bit of quad action. I actually got some cheekage, which is why I kind of fell in love with it. Turns out my form was not perfect, and I did some serious damage to the ligaments and tendons in the elbow. So we're gonna do the same thing where I pull out the drawing tablet, doodle in the muscles and why and where and what's going on, and then we'll come back here to run through ways to rehab it, avoid it, all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go over, check out what it looks like in the arm, and then I'll meet you back here. All right. So we are back to the computer. I actually figured out that my contrast on this thing was absolutely jacked up. So now I can actually see what I'm writing on. But the forearm is like absolutely loaded with muscles. I'm like so many. So we're just gonna focus on the extensor muscles, which there's like 4 or 5, okay? And that will include the one we are looking for. So if you can see in this image, we have the ulna radius, okay? Just in case you need to like know something for medical school or whatever, people that are rad put their thumbs up, okay? So radius is always on the side with the thumb. That is what helped me. Anyways, we are going to be looking at, if I scroll up a little bit here, the humerus, this little nodule, or what you call an epicondyle, is where all these extensor muscles are going to be attaching to, okay? So we have, I'll run through a few of them, right? We have extensor carpi radialis longus muscle. That's technically a little bit higher, so we're not going to be drawing that one. It goes over them. Anyways, extensor carpi radialis brevis muscle, extensor digitorum muscle, extensor digiti minimi muscle, and then extensor carpi ulnaris muscle. Another thing is the mini-me. Always think pinky because it's mini, all right? Anyways, we're going to jump right into it. I'm just going to draw the whole bundle for the most part. I got to make sure my mic isn't going to get in the way of my drawing. But what do you mean? Why you don't like me picking a color? Well, yeah, we're just going to kind of draw an absolute insane little bundle here. So everything does stem from this little area. So this is technically going to be your tendon. So that being said, I'm actually going to do a little bit of white. Anyways, we're going to start with the brevis, the carpi radialis brevis muscle is basically going to be the one everyone is getting injured with the tennis elbow. That's like basically the culprit here. So let me just draw with it. If I think too much, I won't be able to properly color, okay? Sneaks under here, attached. We're not going to go specifically into where this goes. Okay, so we're just going to end it down here. So we'll just color that in, okay? And we're going to just do brevis. Makes it easy, all right? Brevis, I believe. Okay, so number one, we got the brevis. Now we're going to change up colors. Let's go with, I don't know, blue. We'll go purple, like a pink purple. And now we're going to do the digitorum, which is basically going to connect to all of your digits, excluding the pinky. So it's just your pointer, middle, and ring finger. I believe. Yeah. You know what? Let's just turn it up. Why not? Yeah. There we go. All right, color you in, and then these are gonna run and split. Bang, bang, bang. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure for the most part that looks right. Now moving on to the next one. We need a color change, and this is gonna be mini me. So basically rides along the same exact strand. It just sort of seems to like kind of pull off. I mean, these all kind of connect and are the same big bundle. Okay, I guess I could label that. I guess I could label these. So mini me. And this is the ulnaris. So kind of the rest of this for the most part coming out. It's gonna swing out, kind of tighten back up, and going to attach this right, again, kind of right to the edge of the pinky. So it could be confusing if you're thinking mini me and pinky on your test, but you'll get it. It's on the ulnar side, the farthest to the ulnar side. There we go. Give it a little label here. So those are sort of the main extensor muscles, excluding the radialis longus muscle. That kind of wraps over this and comes around. It's kind of the one that, yeah, anyways, skipping that. So now that you can kind of visualize it, we're going to talk about like the area of damage, basically. And that is going to be right here, okay? All these extensor muscles, we will be getting sort of inflamed. There's going to be, I don't know what you would make for an inflamed symbol. So we're going to just put little squigglies as in upset, lightning bolts, you know. They're all going to sort of swell up if you're, again, extending the wrist while you're squatting, which is most likely how everyone's low bar squatting incorrectly for the first time. It's going to be the wrist extension, and all these puppies get all worked up, inflamed, and you have this like, I don't know, we'll just put X marks the spot. It's like this sore, throbbing like spot right in the middle of that where it all attaches. This tendon is not happy, okay? So that is exactly along your forearm what's going on. And if you couldn't tell, this is a posterior view. So I guess, yeah, that works. We'll just put posterior, makes enough sense. Posterior, okay? So you're looking at, again, this is the elbow here. If it was confusing just with the skeleton, because it can look kind of funky. But this, again, we have the old thumb. So just for reference, if you were confused as to what this is looking like. Now, there you have it, okay? That is basically my little doodle, kind of showing I mean, I could probably pull up a picture here. Let me try that once. Let me try to pull up a picture. I'll be right back. We'll look at this one. How does that look, actually? I don't know. We'll just bang. Yeah, we'll move this right to the middle. Okay. So this is definitely a better way to view it. As you can see, the brevis is more wrapping around than it looks in my image. So there's that. But you get the idea, all right? You get the idea. It actually looks pretty similar with the color scheme. So, yeah, there you have it. We're going to jump back to the camera and talk a little bit about rehab, avoiding the injury, and yeah, I'll see you guys there in a sec. All right, so you kind of have the mental, like the image in your brain now of exactly where everything lines up, the medial, lateral, epicondyle, and the tendons connecting to that. But we want to talk about how to avoid doing this in general. I might put some pictures in here that I found online. I might not, I'm not sure yet, but I just want to talk about it. Ways to avoid it. So when you are setting up for your low bar squat, well, one easy way to avoid it, could be maybe make the decision that you don't need to be low bar squatting. But if you're like me and you really want to, you might come up with these other solutions. So there is 2 simple issues or simple solutions. And the issues are usually found in the wrist. So if you have wrist extension, right? If you are squatting and you have your low bar, I can't obviously do it right now, which is another problem, shoulder mobility. But anyways, if you're doing wrist extension, okay, you are gonna run into the lateral on the outside right here. It'll be the lateral, you'll have lateral epicondylitis, or it's like a tendonitis, also known as, it might be tennis elbow. Either way, I believe it's tennis elbow. And then there's golfer's elbow, which is the medial epicondylitis. So if you are doing wrist flexion, I don't know, I've not seen a whole lot of people low bar, but if you're doing this too much, it's gonna be on the inside. If you are extending too much, it'll be on the outside. So the strategy to combat this whole issue is to really work on building a good delt shelf, basically. So if you're high bar, you're up here. If you're low bar, you're kind of coming across the trap, and you kind of want to make this shelf with your delts. And most importantly, do not get into a position, like you'll find that you might move the bar into a more comfortable position, but you will end up flexing or extending, right? So the goal is to keep the wrists stacked. And to do that, if you can't do that, you're gonna need to be working on your shoulder mobility, okay? And that's, there's a whole thing I can go in on shoulder mobility, but either way, your number one solution is to work on your shoulder mobility to then get your wrist in a position where it's not extended or flexed, and also having that bar across your delt shelf, so to speak, okay? So unfortunately, you have ended up low bar squatting with not perfect form and ran into the pain in the elbow, almost stringing up your forearm, and it is absolutely horrendous. Trust me, I know I can't low bar squat right now, which is fine. I want it to get better. But anyways, you've run into the problem. You have it. Your elbow is throbbing. You don't know what to do, okay? Well, there's a few ways to strengthen the tendons in the wrist, okay? So there's obviously wrist curls. So if you were to put your forearm on your knee, right? Like, I can't get my knee up here, but pretend you're resting your forearm on your knee. You can do wrist curls, all right? You can do them this way, flip, you can do them this way. That's one way to really strengthen those tendons. Another thing that I saw online actually was to take a hammer, and that's the same thing. Pretend this is your knee and your thigh here. You're gonna set your hand on your thigh, and you're gonna have a hammer, literally a hammer. And you just go through the motions. You're gonna do some hitting, you do some twists both ways, and that also will improve the flexibility, strength, and just ideally the health of your tendons in the elbow that are being absolutely destroyed by your imperfect low bar squat form. That's about it for this one. Just know, like, some people might not be able to get their shoulders in, or shoulders more flexible, depending on like labrum issues. Athletes wise, everyone's got problems from high school, college, whatever. If that is the case, just work on your high bar form. Trust me, it'll probably be best than trying to force the low bar, because once this epicondylitis really sets in, you no longer have grip strength. I actually no longer had feeling in my pinky and thumb on both of my hands at one point, because I was like, fuck it, push through. It's just like inflamed tendons. It's not like it's doing anything, because your muscles have the strength, but it's the tendons that get real cranky and inflamed after all the repeated inflammation basically caused from your attempts at low bar squatting. But that will wrap it up. We're keeping these really short. That'll wrap it up for the elbow, the lateral, or sometimes medial epicondylitis. And then in the next one, we're going to be talking a little bit about the lower back and it'll probably involve squats once more. But I'll catch you guys there. Hey everyone, thanks for swinging by the channel today. If you enjoyed the video or the videos on the channel, drop a like, subscribe, and turn that bell on if you want to be notified for more videos. But again, thanks for coming by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.